This video is for those of you out there who know what it is you want. Maybe you haven't started working towards those things, but you do know what you want. Or you are working towards those things and possibly aren't seeing the results of your work yet. Well, let me tell you an old adage really quick. What we happen to get our hands on quickly, we do not keep for long. What requires hard work over long periods of time is much, much easier to keep. But do not, I repeat, do not think that the good times will always last or that the bad times will always last. Neither is true. Everything is temporary. Everything has its time. Everything has its place. However, that is not your job, nor is it something you can ever control. And you thinking something should be different does not mean or will ever mean that that will ever be the case. There are too many things that we think of or that we want to control that ultimately we will never have control over. Then again, I will bring this back up again. You are not responsible for the things you cannot control. The list of things we can't control is many. But just as the things as we can't control, there are also many things we can control. And if you are in a state of anxiousness or in a state of discomfort and you're experiencing what most would think is anxiety, or you feel like you're wasting your potential, or that you're not where you want to be, the first thing you need to do when you hear those thoughts is you need to ask yourself, why do you have those thoughts? Why are you feeling that way? What is causing me to feel this way? If your environment has changed, if your life has changed, if the people around you have changed or have come in and out of your life, then there are many other variables to this, those of which you are not giving the proper attention to. I relate with this very much so because a couple of years ago, or many years ago, I started bodybuilding, training very hard. I was the fittest in the gym, of any gym, wherever I worked out at. However, my life changed a couple of years ago. And over the course of the recent years, I have found out that the way that I was doing things was going to put me on track to be not literally house-ridden, but that of it's going to be very difficult for me to get up and move around if I don't take it easier. I then have times in my life now. I look at myself in the mirror. There are parts of myself that I really love about myself. But there's also parts about myself that I dislike, that I want to change. But at the same time, I have to ask myself, is what I am prioritizing my life right now congruent with those ideas or thoughts? Are the things that I am prioritizing in my life going to change how I feel about those things? And the answer is straight up no. Because my priorities have changed. I have larger priorities that I must take care of and that I must fulfill and manifest in order for me to focus on those smaller things. Everything in life is a give and take. It's compromising. And if you choose not to make that compromise, you will wear yourself out, and you might possibly end up in a place where you think about getting a noose. I put it like that so as to not get into the terms of service, of course. But I am making this video so that you are more kind to yourself. More than likely, if you felt any of those things that I described earlier in the video, there's things you aren't considering that are taking an unconscious bias within you. And most likely, those things aren't what you want, they're what other people want, and therefore you feel bad for not maintaining that bar or that standard that you unconsciously adapted or took into yourself. You've misplaced your identity with that thing, and now that it's changed, now that it might not be there or be in as good of a shape as you wanted it to be, you are now upset by that. When in fact, your priorities have probably changed. If your priorities do not change throughout the course of your life to make your life what it is you want it to be, or mold it into the life that you want to have in the future, then you are not prioritizing yourself. You're not being selfish enough. The woke mindset of I have to consider everyone else and what they think before myself is selfish to the people that think that, and you're being too selfless. The analogy that many of you probably heard by now: when you're on an airplane and the cabin depressurizes, what is the first thing you're supposed to do? You're supposed to put on the mask first. You, the person that's watching this video, you put on your mask first. Because by the time you secure a mask that's not on you, more than likely you're going to pass out yourself. And what good of use are you going to be while you're passed out, while the person you helped is freaking out because someone helped them, but they didn't get to help someone else? And now you are reliant upon other people to help you, when if you would have put your mask on first, you would have then been able to help more people. This ass backwards thought pattern is like saying, go out and donate all of your charity, all of your money that you acquire in your life, and donate it. And then the last 30 years, you can then focus on getting the things that you want. Well, if you live to be that long where you still have 30 years left and you know you have 30 years left, you're not going to have any money left over. I get that many of you want to give, and that if you don't give, you don't feel that you are worthy. But let me say this. If you don't help yourself now, if you don't learn to prioritize yourself and your needs and put them above others, then you might not be here long enough to have the offspring, your kin, and be able to take care of them.